Hey everybody, welcome back on MDG Media, your European Disc Golf Hub channel. This is the 2024 Baltic Disc Golf Championship last stretch on the DGPT Europe this summer. This is some MPO action we are going to witness right now. My name is Maxime, and with me, as usual, Elias, Luukkonen.
What's up, Max? What's up, viewers? Nice to be here once again on, honestly, one of the most enjoyable courses on tour. I feel like many players are saying the same. A little bit more stress-free compared to a lot of courses we play. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. It's very scoreable, birdieable. It's very enjoyable, and yeah, I think you just need to go for it. Trust your game. And first on the tee we'll have Mauri Villmann, one of the most consistent player in Europe right now, representing Pro DG. My bad. Coming from Estonia, and who do we have second on the tee?
Joona, Heinänen, a player that suits this course very well, has a long backhand, prefers the hyzer angle, which is very common for this course. A lot of hyzer releases here.
And third on the tee pad we'll have Balodis, coming from Latvia, representing Innova Discs, also sponsoring the event. Amazing player from the country, he's young, rising star, super excited to have him here today.
And Morten, Brenna shooting the hot round of last weekend in Järva Open, 11 under, incredible round, 1070 plus rated, and we're starting off on hole number 1, which is honestly not a tricky hole if you have a lot of distance on the backhand, but if you don't, it plays super far, 129 meters, and going a little bit uphill at the end. What really makes the danger on this hole is that you have some pretty tight OB, both on the right and left side if you're a little bit short. If you get all the way to the basket, the OB kind of opens up. So it's really a distance check on this one. Do you have that flat to hyzer distance or don't?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the best thing is to be a bit short to have an uphill putt also. Let's start. And we are starting with Mauri. They played the Estonian Championships a few weeks ago on this course also. Second time this year for him. He must be nicely prepared.
Mauri definitely a player that can reach the hole. Isn't the furthest throwing player. As you can see, he played it pretty safe there, not really pushing for C1.
Next up, he came from Finland. He was at the Disc Golf Festival and we wanted him to win, but sadly he didn't. He's going to try again next year. Give a round of applause to Joona Heinänen.
And Joona Heinänen. Winner last week. Always good to enter a tournament with a victory. And he definitely has a distance for this hole. This one can rip.
Yeah, a bit of a tailwind here from left to right. And great looking angle here, just pulled a little bit wide. But as you can see, so much height, finishing still inside the circle.
Our Latvian brother, if I'm not mistaken, last weekend you became Latvian champion, didn't you? Exactly that. Give a round of applause to Balodis.
And Latvian number 1 player, Balodis, very young. He played almost all the tournaments last season and he was a lot of time on top. So not the most famous name, but he's coming for it. And this is a good looking drive. Great control. Under the basket, good start.
Feature card for the MPO from Norway, Morten, Brenna.
Brenna explosion.
Yep. I think he is one of the very common type of players that we have in Europe that can be extremely good on his good day, but inconsistency is what keeps him from entering that 10-20 rating. And a bit of a turnover there. Morten also not the furthest throwing player. Did he hit the OB stake and stay safe there?
I'm pretty sure he did. We'll be able to check that.
Or I guess the wall. There's a wall to protect that OB line.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I think the mistake you want to avoid if you have the distance on this hole is to make your disc turn. You know? Like just trying to have a stable disc, go flat, and fade at the end exactly as Joona did. The safest way to do, and probably, oh my god.
Wow, that's such a Mauri looking putt, so casual.
He's probably one of the best putters in Europe, as he just showed us and proved us here. C2, 15 meters, slightly uphill, no worries.
And he's got that very traditional European putting stroke. Only spin putt, just coming from the stomach and spinning the disc forward. We actually have another player, Morten, who has a very similar stroke on the card. Joona more of a pushy putter, and that's a solid hit.
Yeah. Left side, staying into the basket. Good start for Joona. Always good to take this birdie. Not the easiest on the course.
Yeah, tied for the third most difficult hole on the course, so definitely not very easy. And I think it's just the distance with the OB. A lot of players are a little bit scared. And of course, we have the slightly weaker field than some of the elite events, so there are a lot of players in the field that don't really have all of the distance.
You're right, and we are moving on to hole 2. What to know about this one?
Yeah, hole 2, it's a change from last year. It used to be a very easy par 4, turnover through the gap, and then a very easy approach. But now it's a turnover through the gap, and you have to hold a turn all the way to the right to find yourself in the circle. So this is the gap that we're flying over right now. You'd rather push the back side of the gap because the front side of the gap is gonna be OB. So if you're short of the gap and go into the woods, you're almost always OB unless you get very lucky. You can also throw a big hyzer or a big forehand, which usually doesn't park the basket but can get you to 10 meters at best.
And here we have the last option introduced. And also, as you were saying, very important to, if you go for a mistake, let's say, just go long, just to ensure not to go be short.
I really like this line, but as you said, better mistake there, going a little bit long.
Yeah, catching the backside in the middle of that slope. Very easy to park the basket and take an easy par. Oh, and that's another way. Hyzer looking high. Wow. Great way to attack the basket also.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like going that wide really takes away some of the risk. And Morten, this line I haven't seen from anybody else in practice. And looks like he did hit some branches early. And yeah, that's just the risk, you know. That's why I feel like for most players that don't have a massive arm, I really wouldn't recommend going over the right side, as the trees are pretty high, and even if you get over them, it's easy to fade out short.
And he's into a very difficult spot now. But great upshot, great scramble from Morten. Good answer to the mistake. He's putting for bogey only. Oh, this is very short. And he's gonna be, trying to save this par with the tester, 8 meters.
Another really good bid there. He's got great control of the putter, and I love the speed. It's not going too fast.
Exactly, great control of the pace. He's not going too far, only 3-4 meters. Yeah, and Heinänen needed a bit more push, but good line.
He's been playing good for the last weeks. He was 14th at the European Open at a major tournament, as Joona unfortunately misses, and Heinänen also 23rd in Estonia in the Elite Series event. So very solid play as of late from the Latvian.
And even last season, man, I'm pretty sure he was very consistent. Not always top 10, but he's on top. He knows his game. He seems to be very young also. So I'm pretty sure he has time to grow his game as Mauri took the par. And this is an unfortunate bogey for Joona, knowing where he landed on the first shot. He was into that slope, nothing crazy, 30 meters downhill, just a jump up, but ended up very short. And we are moving on to hole 3, par 5.
Yeah, hole 3, another difficult hole. We're really starting off difficult with second hole being also tied for the third most difficult, and third hole even more difficult, averaging almost half a stroke above par, the most difficult hole on the course. Off the tee, you just want to find a lot of distance and the fairway. If you have to choose between the two, you'd rather find the fairway with the OB lines left and right. It's usually a straight to slight turnover off the tee. Then the second shot, just bomb a massive hyzer, hopefully get around the corner where you can see the basket from less than 100 meters away. And then on the approach you need some good distance and line control. The OB long is no more than 5-6 meters behind. So you'd rather just stick it to the hillside, a little bit short or pin high.
Exactly, and going for that turnover you were mentioning, flexing it, and this is a perfect shot from Mauri. There is also that option going over that tree on the right side. It's scary, dangerous, depending on the wind you can or not do it. And you will lose some distance, but I think it's a way, even though everybody is going for the flex shot on the left, to gain that distance. Even the tee pad is oriented towards that hyzer shot. Not easy to run up on this one when you go for that line. Oh, and this needs to fade. Ooh.
On the line, just OB. Yeah, and that's gonna be a big stroke, especially this being a great hole for Joona. Morten as well, really good looking line here. Just needs some little fade back. And that's well done. I feel like what made this hole difficult today in particular was that there was a bit of a headwind for the entire day. So this hole, 325, probably playing even longer with the headwind.
And also weird for everybody because during the practice rounds, tailwind all day. So it was practically the first time we were trying this hole with the headwind. And a good shot from Morten.
Yeah, perfect position there, able to cut the corner. And talking about cutting the corner, this is doing it even better. And just long enough, that's going to be a pretty simple approach. Of course, nothing is too simple with the OB so close behind the basket, but I think Joona will definitely manage that.
And two options on this approach, forehand on the left side, or going over those garden trees on the right. With the hyzer shot, you will be able to see on the next shots. Good stroke from Reiners.
And this drive is very far for playing into a headwind. And splitting the trees, luckily, those are the main obstacles on the second shot. If you can get around or over those trees, you're going to be in good position. And let's see if our players have some good line and distance control here. Morten surprisingly with the forehand.
And this is good looking. Great, just over the ad wall. 4 or 5 meters uphill. Almost perfect. And that's gonna be slightly right. Nothing too bad, 5-6 meters to fight with.
The forehand is a bit more open, you don't have to go as high, or rather if you miss it a little bit low, you're still gonna be there. As you can see, Mauri, they're a bit short. If you go for the right side hyzer with the backhand, you have to contend with those trees and make sure to put it very high.
It seems like Mauri is not scared about anything. I don't know, that's the feeling he gives, but you know, he doesn't really try to go crazy distance. He knows that he has a putting skill, as you can see here. He can be 6, 7, 8 meters. It looks like he's very, very confident right now.
Yeah, it's great to see, and I feel like some of that Estonian mentality of, you know, just staying level, not getting too excited, not getting too mad over small mistakes. I think that really helps him, and as we know, he's not a guy that is ever really too phased about mistakes or bad luck on the course.
Yeah, man, he's very calm, in control. And even if he does any mistake, he's able to destroy a course. And a good start for Mauri and Reiners.
Disc sport and Innova share the same values and understanding how the sport should grow.
Rene has always been a great partner of Innova. His vision of disc golf in Estonia and the Baltic region is exactly what we're looking for.
Our goal would be to grow the sport, grow the brand, so that eventually, in the long run, Innova will be number one in Europe again.
And we are moving on to hole 4, par 3, the shortest until now.
Yeah, shortest and the easiest scoring-wise. Finally, a hole that is playing under par on average. And the shot really is pretty simple. You have a gap to hit off the tee. The angle is slightly awkward. You have to throw a bit of a flex shot to make the gap as big as possible. You can also go just perfectly straight, but that makes the gap a little bit smaller. I'd say the best shot is going to be an overstable mid-range with a flex shot or an overstable fairway with a flex shot. You'd rather land a little bit right off the basket because there are a lot of rollaways if you land left.
I like that straight line, you know, very trusty. And this is not the best spot to land, although Mauri is very comfortable on the green, but he's gonna be left with 5-6 meters, slightly downhill. Dangerous angle with the slope. And this is more of the line you were talking about. Come on. Oh. This is okay.
Yeah, good result still. You can sometimes roll down and go down to about 10 to 12 meters, but I feel like that's the better luck there. And Morten, this is gonna land more on the right side, a little bit past actually, putting some good power on it, but still putting. It's really difficult on this hole to find yourself not putting at the basket if you just hit the gap of the tee.
Yeah, being bullseye on this one is very tough. This is also a good shot. Yeah, not the best reaction, but again, I think the best spot to land, you know, if you compare to the rest of the group, he's gonna be left with an uphill putt, straight to the slope, and this is a great putt from Morten for his second birdie.
Very smooth putting stroke. First time I ever heard about Morten was my friend was playing on his card and said that he is the smoothest putter that he's ever seen. So something to think about with Morten Brenna's putting. Joona there, another slight miss, just like on hole 2, and Mauri even, very surprising.
Not the best spot to land in the end, you know. He was straddle with some branches in the way, with the slope also. Not the easiest spot to just balance your body, and a good birdie for Reiners. Third, 3 down out of 4 holes. Great start. And as we were mentioning, I'm pretty sure right now Mauri is very comfortable, even though he missed that shorty. Estonian mentality, we're mentioning exactly the way hole 5.
Hole 5, scoring-wise, quite near par, but honestly for the best players it's a pretty simple hole. Very satisfying to throw off the tee as well, 217 meters. We're going a little bit downhill all the way to the sweet spot. You want to get about 140, 150 meters even with the downhill off the tee. Just a straight to hyzering shot. If you have more power you can put some more glidey hyzer onto your distance driver. And then from the sweet spot it's all about just finding one of these gaps. You can go through this right side gap or you can go through the left side gap. Some people even going over the gap with a high spike hyzer if you want to play the luck factor.
And Halo Destroyer in Reiner's hands. This is looking good, if it's not too tight. Great shot from Reiners. He's gonna be in position to attack the green from there for 4th birdie and a turkey.
Very good angle for him as well. He's not too far off the gap, which can easily happen on this hole if you flip it up a bit too much. Morten there a bit more on the right side, but not too far once again, so he's gonna have a longer shot, but still a good angle.
Good looking shot also. Same kind as Morten, more into the right side, a meter away from his Norwegian mate. And Joona about to bomb.
Really good shape for Joona's throw. He loves that slight hyzer angle. Not really going for a lot of distance there though. Pretty heavy hyzer with some nose down too.
Can you believe it? He's the shortest of the group.
Yeah, pretty surprising, but still very manageable for the birdie. This is a little bit inside though. You really want to push it a bit flatter up the hill.
Yeah, unfortunately catching one of the Guardians. He's gonna be left with a 15 meters uphill putt. This is better. Inside the circle, stay on that plateau. No crazy reactions. It's very easy to roll away on this one. And you were mentioning this one. Playing the luck factor. Yeah, not the best result, but he's around.
Yeah, very surprising play from his position. He did have that straight line, which honestly I think that's a very strong shot in Morten's game. He's very good and controlled with his mid-ranges and fairway drivers usually. And Reiners there hitting the last tree. That's the tree that a lot of people hit on the second shot. And let's see Joona here to fix those putting errors. Not quite. And he's really gonna have to get that in check for the later holes if he wants to score a great round on this course.
Yeah, as you were mentioning, it's very hard to park everything on this hole. Everything is really long, so you need to capitalize on putts between. Oh, nice one. 4 down through 5. But yeah, you need to capitalize some 6 to 11, 12 meters putt on almost every hole. So you need to have your putting game in check. Good birdie for Mauri here. 3 down through 5 with a putting mistake. Decent start, solid.
It's very good. We saw the hot round so far in the day was 11 under, which that is an incredible round. But 2 of our guys are definitely on pace to match that. Reiners already 4 under. And moving on to one of the more tricky holes on the course. Hole number 6 is going to be 234. And actually off the tee you're throwing a very similar angle as on the last hole. Just the height might be a little bit different. You want that pushing hyzer to fly somewhere left side of this sign that we saw in the middle of the fairway. If you can be a little bit left of it, it's gonna really open up the right side hyzer, which we're not flying through, but in the right side woods there is a straight to hyzering shot that most players are taking. Of course, if you have a big forehand, you can go for this route that the drone is flying, but I'd say the right side gap is more common for the approach.
And Reiners opening the party. This is early. Oh. And there is OB on the left side, but it's almost impossible to be in danger with it. It's too far, probably more on the second shot if you go left side. And Mauri now turning it a bit too much, but staying in bounds. It's gonna be short and very hard to reach the green from where he landed.
I feel like the right side OB really only comes into play if you hit some trees. The disc is never flying into the right side OB, as it's pretty tricky to flip it accidentally that far to the right. And that's a perfect shot from Brenna.
Exactly. Joona now. Good looking shot also. Slight flip up. And he's gonna be around Morten's disc. good drives. Only Mauri with a bit too much turn on his line, but nothing too bad.
And too much turn on this one. And great kick off the tree. That could have even challenged the right side OB on the second shot, which I feel like that's pretty rare on this hole.
Yeah, knowing that the OB stops and turn to the right side, 90 degrees at some point. But as you said, he was almost in danger with it, and a good approach from Reiners. Long, just outside the circle, for a fifth birdie possibility.
This shot is great for Morten's game, and look at that control. Hitting the gap perfectly, good distance control. On the second hardest hole on the course, now we have, after this hole, played 4 of the hardest holes on the course. So the rest of the holes are going to be much more scoreable than this stretch.
Yeah, the start of the round is really tough. Those first 6 holes, if you're able to just be 3-4 down at the end of hole 6, is pretty amazing in the end. Even 2. And this is a good approach for a third par on Mauri's side. 3 down through 6 is definitely consistent.
And there you go, fixing that putting stroke. Still a little bit on the left side, but no worries. Keeping it well enough on the line. And let's see if Joona can get some good confidence from that.
Wow. High right. It can be dangerous on those baskets sometimes, but this one stays in. 4th birdie in a row, 5 down through 6. Amazing start for Reiners. Oh my god. Yeah. At the exact time I'm mentioning it, unfortunate speed out for Morten. Was not deserved.
We can always speculate about what if he had putted a bit softer, but honestly that was perfect putt.
Yeah, we are pretty happy we saw our both names on top. But stop talking about that. 11 and 10 down, great scores, and we are moving on to hole 7 now.
Hole 7, this is starting a very scoreable stretch on the course. 105 meters, a tunnel shot, but you have a lot of space. It's not really a tight tunnel, it's more about just keeping you honest with a straight shot. You don't really have a lot of room to shape a hyzer or an anhyzer. You have to be somewhere in the straight shot land, and most players either mid-range or fairway driver, really depending if you want to throw it harder or softer.
Okay. Straight line, not able to make it happen on Reiner's side. Too early. Should be an easy scramble par. He didn't go too deep, and this is a good looking shot, slightly early, just outside the circle, 11 meters. Elevated basket, always a bit scarier, but he made the last one.
Needs to fade back a little. Just too low there from Mauri, but he's going to be putting once again. There is that same OB as we had on the last hole. We're going in the opposite direction now, so it's on the right side. But I'd say pretty rarely found. Most players aren't going for such a flippy disc as Morten. That's beautiful control and perfect showcase of why he's a great thrower of the disc.
Yeah, very in control with those mid-ranges. And a good scramble from Reiners. It's going to be an easy par. Second of the round. Mauri with a very deep C2 range putt. Yeah, slightly early. Just gonna be left with a 4 meters tester, if we can call that a tester for him. Oh, high right, not the ugliest line. And this one stays in.
Good confidence stroke even after the spit out. I feel like that's a tricky thing. After you get a spit out from very short range with a perfect putt, it's very interesting to always look at the next putt from the player. Are they going a little bit softer? Looks like Morten didn't, and I think that's really the right thing to do.
Yeah, just trust your technique. Sometimes you can speed out, it happens. Just try to forget it. What do you think about Morten, man? Like he was, you were talking about consistency, and last season he was really up and down, as this season is definitely more consistent for him. We can see great highs, and the lows are not as low as they could be, I'd say. And he's more on top than he was last season. I think he's very nice, man. He's evolving towards the right direction, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's nice. I feel like he's definitely developing as a player and finding his game, I feel like in the past he could have made some stupid decisions on the course, but now much more of a smart player and really knowing his game. As we're moving on to a bomber par 4, we have a potential to see huge shots off the tee here. It's setting up perfectly for a massive Anheuser flex shot going for maximum distance off the tee. Really no OB that comes into play with that sort of shot. If you have some stability on your disc, the right side doesn't really come into play as long as you have some fade, and there's no OB on the left, so just bomb it as far as you can. And if you do that, you're gonna be left with between 100 meters and 60 meters at the shortest for the approach.
And this is a good looking line. Fading. I'd say being more left, exactly as Morten is, opens up the angle and just gives you a straight shot to the basket between the right side and left side OB. The more right you have, the more right you have. If you don't have a forehand, is maybe bad, but for all those players, it's all good. Good shot from runners, good distance also.
I feel like both Morten and Reiners are gonna have around 75 meters to go, so pretty far drives, 140 plus. And Joona here going for big power, kind of a stall out shot at the end, but just no danger on that left side. As long as you get around the initial trees on the left, he's still gonna be very much fine from about 90 to 100.
There is some tough OBs on the course, and I think that left side could have been OB just to put a bit more challenge on this hole, because you can fade out very early and you find yourself in a good position to attack the basket. Could be more punishing. Oh, this is out of bounds.
Pretty surprising miss. Mauri has a very accurate forehand, and there is about 13 meters of space on the left side of the basket before you go into the OB. And Joona as well, a bit short there. I wonder if he was worried about going OB on the right side, and that's why he kept it so incredibly low with the forehand.
Yeah, probably. This is wide also. What? Another mistake on that left side? It comes into play, but the right side is so much more dangerous to me. Very strange to see Reiners and Mauri going out of bounds as Morten is approaching the basket perfectly. Bullseye, almost a koozie hit. Yeah, and a good line here from Joona, just too high. There is some wind also on the course this afternoon.
To save a par here. Massive putt, and so casual once again. As Max said earlier, it doesn't seem like he's very stressed, and that's actually one of the only times I've ever seen Mauri even run to the basket after a great putt.
Yeah, this one was huge, man. Saving a par like that, he's outside the circle. Again, there is a slight wind as the flag is not moving right now. And a good comebacker for Joona with the struggles he had on the green. It's important to put those 6-7 meters inside the chains. So first mistake for Reiners, unfortunately, after a good drive. Not expected. But it happens. He's still 4 down through 8, which is a pretty decent start. Best of the card right now. And we are entering the last hole of the front nine.
Completely new hole, hole number 9 is par 4. It's a pretty easy hole, to be honest. Even though the average score is 4, I feel like for the best players it's very much a birdie or a par. Very rare to see a bogey on this hole unless for some putting misses. It's all about throwing it through the gap of the tee and fading out left. There's that OB on the right side, so all of our players are going to be either going with a hyzer release of the tee or with an overstable disc to avoid that right side OB, even if they miss it a little bit to the right. And then from there it's really the player's choice. They can go for any sort of high shot, sometimes a low shot if you can see the basket, but usually it's just a high stall out hyzer with a mid-range or fairway driver.
And here you try to stay as straight as possible, but fading early is not the worst. If the distance is not too long also, you can be close to those trees and have a hard spike hyzer to hit. Yeah, this is far left also, but again, nothing too bad. There is the space to attack the green from where he landed.
Similarly to the last hole, there's really no OB on the left that comes into play. There is OB line on the left, but it's about 20 meters left of where the discs are usually landing, so it's really not in play. And everybody on the card gonna be in very good position. Now it's all about controlling the distance on the approach, because there is some slope on the behind backside of the basket, so ideally you would like to keep it about 5 meters short.
Yeah, not too short. You don't want to have too much of a death putt, let's say, and this is short left under the pine tree, but there is some room to putt and make this one. I like that line, very vertical, out of the hand to avoid any glide. Good shot from Joona, 7 meters. Oh, okay, that's gonna be long.
Way long from Morten, going 20 meters past. That's why I really like the height on this shot rather than going low like Morten did.
And this is looking great. Wow. Man, what a control, what a touch. The motion is perfect, slow. Not putting too much speed on this shot. And a good bounce back after the mistake on hole 8 for Reiners.
Couple of tricky putts here. Mauri trying to make it. Good effort. I respect the run there, and Joona into a big right-left headwind. And tried to keep it low. That's the right way to play it, but just didn't get the lift.
Yeah, check that flag moving. It's blowing hard right now. And a good birdie from Reiners. Good answer, 5 down through 9, very nice start. Yeah, he's in position to shoot that 11 down we saw on that scoreboard check earlier. What do you think, front 9 is harder than the back?
I think so. We saw 4 of the most difficult holes being on the front, and back 9 is pretty scoreable, especially with hole 18 being even eagleable for all top players.
It was fun, man. We have a couple birdies. Reiners not on fire, but almost. He was close to make it happen. And then the rest of the card is right there. Lots of good scores. 111 down, 110, 1-9. Let's see if the feature is able to make it happen. And yeah, man. Pleasure. We'll wait for the back 9 to arrive. We also thank you guys for watching, for supporting. Thank you for commenting with me also. He has a strange thing in his nose. I'm very disturbed right now.
Yeah, Max actually beat me before we started commenting.
Okay, that's a real thing, and we'll wait for you guys on the back 9. See you there.